Hello fellow people of the internet, welcome to my video about my critiques with the IO and why, for now, I've stopped playing the game. Now I'm assuming many of you know what the IO is, seeing that you clicked on this video. But if you don't know what the IO is, basically, let me say this in the shortest way I can. It's a dinosaur survival game where you try to survive as long as possible. That's the gist of it. Now, for the reasons why I've stopped playing the game. So my first issue with the IO is balancing. Most animals in the IO are actually pretty balanced, I'll say that. Other animals, like Dilo and Cerato, are not balanced. And for everyone else, it's just not fun. Like Dilo being so buggy that its clones just hit you no matter what, you can't even fight back. Or, Sarah just being Sarah. Also, like animals like Dibble. Dibble can knock down any mid-tier. Do its thrash and they're just dead. Or like, for example, Carno and Omni, they have such slow stand-up times after knockdown that basically they're dead once they get stunned. For example, Omni, if Omni gets kicked by Tenno, you can kiss that Omni life goodbye because he's just gonna kick you and die, and you're gonna die. Same thing with Carno. If you get knocked down by Dibble and it just does its thrash, you're gonna die. Well, 99% of the time you're gonna die. Obviously, this isn't fair for anyone involved. It's unfair because you get overpowered if you play those creatures, and it's not fair because you feel weak compared to the other players. I get it that some animals are supposed to be stronger than others, but this is kind of absurd in a way. Sure, you could argue that, oh, they should be more careful, but with ping in FPS, I wouldn't be sure. Which also leads into my next point. So my second issue with the IO is performance and ping. Don't get me wrong, the IO is a beautiful game. It might be one of the best looking dinosaur survival games out there. But that does usually come with a cost. And the cost of the IO is the fact that it literally just sucks out all your frames. Sure, you could argue, be like, oh, I use all the good settings and blah blah blah. But even with the good settings, most of the time the game can only run at a measly 60 to 40 FPS. Even with a NASA supercomputer, I'm pretty sure you can only run the game at 100 FPS max. But don't even get me started with ping either. Sometimes you get hit from a mile away, right? From Carno charge or something will bite you and you're obviously not near them on your screen, but apparently you're right in front of them on their screen. Or you'll try to bite them and you just don't hit them at all and you're in them. You'll just be sticking your head up their ass and you're just not damaging them at all. Sure, it's gotten better recently, but it's still a pain in the ass to deal with, especially in migration zones and hotspots, which I really hope they fix soon. So my third problem with the IO is something we've all probably heard of, which is hackers. As someone who plays on official servers quite regularly, I'd say I run into hackers often. Not as much as I did when they were really running rampant, but I still run into them every couple of weeks. Which is still a big problem. You have those hackers who will fling you up in the air or, kill you instantly as anything. You could be an adult Rex or something and you just get bit by a baby Omni and just keel over. Or just hackers knowing where you are at all times. It's just not fun. Nobody involved is having fun, except for the hackers. And the devs, I don't know if the devs just don't care, if the devs are gonna do something and update the anti-cheat, but right now it seems like they're either too busy focusing on other things to actually care about the hackers running rampant, or they just literally do not care at all. Which really sucks because I like playing on officials because you're not limited by rules like you are on unofficials. Sure, rules can be nice at sometimes, but sometimes you just want to do your own thing. You don't want to have to be limited by what the server tells you and what you can and cannot do. I don't know. It's a big issue, and it's probably one of the biggest issues that officials have at the moment. So the fourth biggest issue I have with the IO right now is mix packing and mix herding. I'd say it's probably the biggest issue with the game right now, alongside hackers. You might be saying, minmi, mix herding isn't that bad. It's only I'm just with my other herbivore friends. But I'll put it in perspective of a carnivore. If let's say you're an Omni and you're chasing down this Dryo and then he just runs into his mega herd of 8 Stegos, 24 Diablos, or 38 10-0s, right? I'm exaggerating, obviously. But you just can't eat. Like, you can't do anything. Mixed packing is worse, yes. But it's still... Carnivores are hard enough as it is. But having to deal with that, it just makes it worse. Mixed packing, though. Mixed packing is bad. You have a packy break your leg, and then you'll just get chased down by, like, everything else in the mixed pack. And it's bad. You physically cannot do anything about it. Like, I'd say, I hope they add something, like, that makes you stress and stuff. But at this point, I don't know if they will. For my 5th point, I would like to talk about the gameplay loop. I know it's a little bit of a goofy point, but it's not really a point that I stop playing the game on. It's just something I want to see in the future. This is like I want to see this in the future, like, part of the video. Let me ask you this. What do you do when you reach 100%? Do you fight other people? Do you travel the map? Do you eventually do all that stuff and jump off a cliff? Do you die in a horrendous way by another player? I don't know. But what else is there to do? I know the Elder system is coming, and it's going to allow you to be like, oh, well, die of old age and pass on our mutations to, the next one. But I feel like that's going to be repetitive, and it might not be enough for some people. Like myself. I'm really looking forward to stuff like making territory, or sharpening claws and horns and stuff like they showed in concept art, if they add that stuff. And even, yes, taking shits to make tracking more immersive. I know people always kind of say, oh, this is the dinosaur PvP game. And we all know it's not a dinosaur PvP game. But I feel like if we added stuff like this, it would make the game lean more into realism and survival. I don't know. That's just my personal take on that. Alright, thanks for watching my first discussion video. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your thoughts or anything you have to say in your comments below. Remember though, guys, it's just a game. Don't take this shit too seriously. Just, at the end of the day, if you have something, like, really bad to say, just keep it to yourself, man. Like, I don't want to have to go through this chat and tell people, no, don't say that. Yeah, just, at the end of the day, have fun. Alright, see ya. Have a good one.